welcome to another video review, and today I'm reviewing one of the best games I've played in 2019 and possibly one of the best games I've played this entire console generation, and that is Control. Now, a lot of people I think are going to have this game fly under the radar for them. Kind of came out of nowhere. I think it also at the same time, it's been in the works for a while. It's been at different shows. It's kind of been shown behind closed doors. I'm going to be honest, I didn't follow a lot of the pre-release footage of this game. I saw the initial trailer and said, that looks like a game I might like. I'm familiar with Remedy's work in the past, being a huge fan of the original two Max Payne games and Alan Wake. Quantum Break, not so much. This is the 7th game that they've made, and honestly, easily the best game they've ever made. So, anyways, without further ado, this is my review of Control. I played it on the Xbox One X, so all the footage you see is going to be from that version of the game. Anyways, here we go.
I know I shut you out sometimes. I'm always glad to hear from you. It's just that I get my hopes up. So many times it's led to nothing. I found nothing. It's like we live in a room and there's a poster on the wall. We stare at it and we think that's the whole world. The room and the poster. The picture's something nice. A landscape, a famous person. Like in that movie, what is it called? The prison movie. The room's a cell, and the picture, it's different. For each of us, it can be beautiful or terrible, but we're all transfixed. But it's all a lie, something to distract us from the truth. They're lying to us. We're lying to ourselves. The room's not the world. The world is much bigger and much stranger. There's a hole hidden behind that poster that leads to the real world. We all feel safe in that room. But sometimes something crawls out from behind the poster. And the ones that see it happen freak out and try to forget what they saw. I'm here. Why did you bring me here?
I didn't go into Control knowing very much about it. The prerequisite for me was knowing that it was Remedy's new game, the makers of Alan Wake, Quantum Break, and the original two Max Payne games, and that it was supposed to be their most ambitious game to date. I'd loosely followed coverage of the game pre-release, only knowing that I had enjoyed Remedy's past games, and the concept of this seemed right up my alley. What I didn't know is that I'd walk away from my time with Control ready to not only declare it one of the best video games I've played in this calendar year, but perhaps one of the best of this entire console generation. Control puts you in the shoes of Jesse Faden, a woman who is on a mission to find her lost brother. She winds up tracking him to a place called the Federal Bureau of Control. Basically, think of it as the FBI, only if Fox Mulder was running the show. One of the biggest things that drew me in from the beginning is the sharp undertones of which this game is clearly based upon. I've known it for a while that Remedy's head man Sam Lake is a huge fan of shows like Twin Peaks and The X-Files, but if anything, Control is just one massive fan's love letter to these two shows. The game oozes a style and gravitas that you just don't get in video games these days. And Remedy, no stranger to world building, has crafted perhaps their finest piece of fiction with Control. Each Remedy game has always had a fantastic level of world building through collectibles and hidden TV shows within the game, but Control takes it one step further. The setting of the Control is the head of the FBC, the building known as the Oldest House. What's really interesting about this setting is that the building itself has a mind of its own, so you can see it change the setting at any point as it is corrupted by the Hiss. Yes, you heard that right. The bad manifestation that is the central antagonist of Control is called the Hiss. After a series of events, Jessie finds herself as the new director of the FBC.
Shit. Shit. You want me to pick it up? The murder weapon? Really? And there goes the poster.
Objects of power can cause or be results of AWE's altered world events, intrusions upon the perceived reality. Now, the service weapon is, of course, a prime example of an OOP, a very powerful one. Ingrained in the Bureau's DNA, a key component in our prime candidate program. Come out of that Russian roulette a winner and you're it.
You are thrust into a weird, slightly off-kilter world where nothing is as it seems. The less said about the story farther than this, the better you honestly will be for it. Control has a fantastic story I'm glad wasn't spoiled for me, and while the ending is pretty divisive, I found it just as head-scratching yet something to ponder about for years to come as the end of Twin Peaks last season. Throughout the game, you'll gain powers through objects known as Objects of Power. Basically, these are items from the astral plane. Yes, astral projection is also a huge part of this game. These have been corrupted by the Hiss. Powers you'll receive include levitation, telekinesis, a shield, and at the center of everything, the service weapon that you use. The main and only gun you get in Control is the service weapon that can be upgraded and has different forms of use. There's your standard pistol, an assault rifle, a shotgun, and so on. The variety is actually pretty large. One of the more interesting concepts of Control that I really enjoyed looking through everything specifically was just balancing the combat in different rooms and areas of the game. So once you start unlocking more powers, you can really start messing with how you approach different rooms of combat, especially when you unlock the levitation skill. It brings a whole new element of Control that I wasn't expecting. Powers are what makes Control stand out as well. One of the things Control reminds me of is a wonderful game that not many people mention anymore these days that was called PsyOps, the Mindgate Conspiracy. This was a game that came out on the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox probably about 15 years ago. And I think Control does a great job of taking a lot of the concepts of that game and just making it better and making it more modern. The telekinesis power is also intoxicating and exhilarating to use. You'll become addicted right away. There's also some pretty fantastic puzzles in Control. I won't spoil any of them, but I'll say my favorite ones involve the hotel area. And there's also a mind-bending maze towards the end of the game that seems like it was ripped right out of the movie Inception. Control's not a perfect game by any stretch. In fact, on a base PS4 and Xbox One, there are points in which the game is downright unplayable due to some really poor performance issues with the frame rate. This is something that Digital Foundry has extensively covered and confirmed that the latest patch, it's much better on these base consoles. So if you're watching this video now at this time, you shouldn't have nearly as many problems playing this game on a base PS4 or a base Xbox One. I played through the game on the Xbox One X. I found that to be the best version of the game overall. I will say there's still frame rate issues. I think one of the most telling ones is anytime you pause the game and unpause it, there's a huge, massive frame rate hitch, and you kind of almost have to stand still for like 3 to 5 seconds before you move your character, or it's just a mess. I don't know if it's just an issue with pausing and unpausing the game, but that was one of the technical issues I saw, and this is running on an Xbox One X. Also, if you are a PC player and just happen to have a RTX ray tracing card, this game is one of the first to fully support ray tracing, and it looks phenomenal. I'm kind of crossing my fingers and hoping when the new consoles come out next fall, which will have ray tracing abilities, that Control is kind of thrown into the mix and gets a ray tracing patch upgrade or something, so you can do that on the console, because I think that would be really cool. With all that being said, there are also some minor issues with controls in the game at time. Some of the powers you get can be a bit cumbersome to use at first. The biggest one for me was levitation. When you first use it, you have to kind of double tap A to slowly levitate back towards the ground. If you just tap it once, you just stop levitating and fall. That was a pretty big one for me to overcome as I was playing through the game. There's also a few puzzles in the game that I don't think had the best tutorial on how they worked. You just kind of had to figure it out for yourself. That being said, I have to say I had a just phenomenal time playing through Control. I went into this game blind. I didn't know anything about it other than a couple trailers I saw, and I said, yeah, that game looks pretty cool. I'll probably play that. I knew it had some Twin Peaks undertones. I didn't realize how far those went, and just how much this game is just a Twin Peaks love letter. We haven't seen a game go this far with its Twin Peaks love since Deadly Premonition, and that was about 10 years ago. So it's nice to see somebody carrying that torch still all these years later. It's the level of detail and care that was thrown into Remedy's 7th studio title here that really brought me to flat out fall in love with this game, the characters, and this world. Remedy isn't a studio that's known for making sequels to their games, with Max Payne 2 being the only true exception, but I really do hope that Control is something that is able to get a sequel at some point. It's truly a great game of this generation, and while I don't believe that any game is perfect, and this game does have some flaws, I'm willing to overlook those flaws and come out of the other end declaring this as an overall outstanding game and experience that should not be missed. My final letter grade for Control is an A+. And there you have it. That's my review of Control. I absolutely love this game. It is, up to this point, the best game that I've played in 2019. I know we're still got a couple months left in this year, so there's a big chance something else might come out that I find better, but right now, I have not played a better game in 2019 than Control, and yes, that even includes Bloodstained. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video review. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.